and let us all do we can to build a better future.
All right. Consumers are scrambling for eggs.
They need eggs.
Okay, look, this may sound funny, okay? But there's something going on here. Look, eggs are traditionally a inexpensive, very tasty household staple.
Nutritious and delicious,
They
delicious and
are.
nutritious.
And you know, they're satiating. I mean, you have an egg, you're getting protein, you're getting fat, you're getting the B vitamins and all that. They are a great way to get good nutrition. An egg has 70 calories. You know, you can make yourself an omelet, scrambled eggs, whatever it may be. It's used in baking. They are a household staple. But if you've noticed, the prices have been going through the roof.
Yeah.
Egg prices rose 60% in 2022.
If you ever want to impress a date, folks, just show them a carton of eggs and they'll be like, oh, you can buy 12 cartons of eggs, or like buy a carton of eggs. Oh, you big spender right there, you know? Who would ever think in 2020 it was toilet paper? If you had a whole stack of toilet paper, you were a boss. I guess now in 2023, if you have some cartons of eggs, you're a boss, man.
Well, there is an activist group of farmers who is saying that this is all collusion, that the prices of eggs are not that high. They have filed a case with the Federal Trade Commission on this. They're looking into it. Anybody can do that, but the situation is quite serious for a lot of families in this country who rely on eggs as a part of their family diet. Now, look, I love rice and beans. I love a lot of these foods, but for some families, eggs are what the people eat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're making pancakes, if you're making breads, or any of that sort of thing, eggs are an important part of that. But they've become incredibly expensive. And what I'm learning at this point is that this may be a long-term problem. There's an interesting article that I've linked to from the Atlantic, Get Used to Expensive Eggs. So what's apparently happening is that you have chickens that are getting sick. They're getting various kinds of flu. Here's the thing.
I don't believe that. I just don't believe that automatically now out of the blue, all these chickens are getting sick.
Well, as you remember, it wasn't that long ago that there were those fires at chicken processing plants?
Yep, I do. I remember those. And those were quite, well, what's the word I'm looking for? Suspicious. Very suspicious.
And not nutritious. And not nutritious.
No, by the way, just so you folks know about nutritious and delicious, when I used to work at Costco, I was at the seafood area, and I was always yelling out to people to buy some of the crabs or the lobster tails. And I was like, that they're nutritious and delicious. Delicious and nutritious. And you know what? I always made sure that stall was empty because that was the best there was. There you go. But anyways, different story.
Costco's got great food. But, it is really disturbing to see what's happened here, because in a lot of households, okay, you can't afford to buy a lot of meat. You can have eggs. And eggs are just, look, if you have a hard-boiled egg or two, you're good to go for a while.
Yeah.
And to see this happening is a real concern. This article from the Atlantic points out that when you have factory farming and industrial farming, which produces food very cheaply for individuals and households, that the animals are close together, and it's almost impossible to stop the animals from getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
So whether that is just an explanation or one excuse or one of multiple factors that's impacting this, we're seeing some real increases in the cost of staple foods in this country.
Well,
and that's a concern.
You know, I think is also happening too, on the sideline, and that is this. As time keeps on progressing, I'm noticing that the average citizen is losing all the abilities to enjoy life here in America. There's a picture at the Art Institute, and I Lainey, if you know the name of it, please help me out. I know it was shown in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but there's It's a picture of a park. Everyone's there, from working class people to rich people, and what it represented is everyone can enjoy the public space,
Mhm.
time to be themselves, and to relax. And I'm noticing now, again, we not only do we have poor people, the working poor, but the middle class is vanishing. Owning a home is a dream. Even eating delicious foods is becoming just a privilege now. Yeah, everyone is now forced to struggle and hustle, work 2 or 3 jobs to make ends meet. And before anyone says, well, that's hard work. Well, yeah, okay. Look, I'm not downplaying hard work, but we are in a system in which we are the hamsters on the wheel, and we're not getting a break. I mean, our politicians don't even work.
Right.
And yet they're okay with the fact that many of their
They're vultures.
constituents are
And assholes.
working poor. They are heading to poverty. We are all heading to poverty. And so what? Now buying groceries is a dream. Owning the ability to live life as the best you can, because we're not going to live here forever. All of us will one day pass away, but it seems like all these things are being taken away so the rich can keep on getting richer. By the way, the rich people who are protected by our politicians.
Well, and we go back up here, and civically minded on the show notes. We're going to come to this story about what happened with the Iowa SNAP scare. This actually popped up. It was more like last week, but finally got sorted out. But this is something again that I've been reporting on for a very long time. There was a proposal by Republicans in the Iowa state legislature to restrict food stamp purchases to the foods to the foods that are only allowed on the Women's, Infants, and Children program, also known as WIC. So WIC is a program to meet the very specific nutritional
Wait a minute.
needs.
I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm reading this tweet. I got to read this out loud. So, proposed restriction: no white grains. People can only purchase 100% whole wheat bread, brown rice, 100% whole wheat pasta. Okay. No baked, refined, or chili beans. People can purchase black, red, or pinto beans. I hope I said that correct. I think I said that wrong. No fresh meats. What? No fresh. People can only purchase canned products like canned tuna or canned salmon. No sliced, cubed, or crumbled cheese. No American cheese. You gotta be crap. God damn it. We're ruled by sociopaths. Pretty soon, you know what they're going to say? You know what they're going to say to every poor person that has a kid? All right, throw your child in the middle of the Dan Ryan. If they survive, they can make it into the workforce. If not, oh, well.
Roadkill. That's what we're going to feed people with the canned meat, right?
Yep. Soylent Green is made out of what? Soylent Green is made out of what?
So here's the deal, okay? This has been a song that conservatives have been singing for a long time. And in fact, I've even heard it from some people. A lot of people we call them shit libs, who have been saying the same thing. Well, if you're going to use food stamps, you should only be able to buy what we consider to be healthy food. Now, in this case, they wanted in Iowa, the GOP wanted to restrict purchases to what is allowed on WIC, which is very nutrient-dense food, simple, nutrient-dense food for people who have very specific nutritional needs, pregnant or breastfeeding women, infants, and children under the age of 5. Now, WIC makes a lot of sense for those people groups, for those demographics. But here's the thing. With WIC, what you get on WIC is not dependent on fluctuating prices or inflation. You get a certain amount of milk or dairy or tofu or soy milk. You get a certain amount of beans, pasta, rice, that sort of thing. That is you get the same amount of food every month. That is not how food stamps, SNAP, works. You get a certain amount of money each month, and you have to figure out what you can afford on that amount of money. And there are these things called specials and loss leaders and discounts, which may mean that some month you may be able to get fresh chicken thighs for far less than what you might be paying for canned salmon. Exactly.
I'm sorry, Lainey. I'm just trying to imagine. Again, you have these lawmakers now dictating what you can and cannot buy with SNAP. Now, look, I understand a lot of these politicians, have forgotten, maybe why they got elected in office. They're supposed to kind of maybe care. But this is an example of, again, the failure of our democracy, not only at the federal level, but the state level too, because you have a lot of these jagoffs who think they are holier than thou and God's gift to the earth. Men and women, by the way. So I won't be discriminating. Okay. Men and women, politicians, right? And I forget that, when they make these laws, they're impacting the lives of millions upon millions of their people. And so when these laws are enacted, I'm wondering what kind of future they want us to live in, to where if you're poor, you're eating paste, stale bread, a glass of water, and be grateful. And if you pray hard enough and you believe in that stupid goddamn puritanical logic, maybe you yourself can one day screw over poor people. This is where our democracy has led to. I have to wonder if this is the big end game goal, not only at the state level, but at the federal level, to where our politicians just want to screw us over. Maybe the founding fathers should have lost, because this makes no goddamn sense whatsoever. We're supposed to be happy with this. Look, it's not like everyone wakes up one day and say, gee, I'm going to be on SNAP.
Sorry. The chief global producer of Hardlands Media has made an appearance.
Oh, yeah. So you wanted to make his. Okay. Shout out to you, buddy. Good to see you, Ned.
Good to see Ned. In any case, well, here's the thing. They immediately withdrew it and said it was too much. Here's the deal. Food stamps was created in part as part of the department. It's under the Department of Agriculture. It's part of the Farm Bill. And it was created to, in many ways, help support the American farmer by incentivizing purchases of food. So when people get their food stamps, that money goes immediately back into the economy. They go to a for-profit store, buy products made by for-profit producers, and they go on their merry way. All right. Research has shown, I mean, this has been going on for years. I can point this all out to you, has shown that there isn't much difference in what is in the shopping cart of somebody who receives food stamps and somebody who does not. The American diet sucks, period. The other thing here is this. If you get food stamps, you have to figure out, it's not a renewable resource. You have to figure out how much you can afford each month. And what you buy with those food stamps will have to fit into that. Otherwise, you're using your own money. And yes, there are a lot of grocery stores, and I know this for certain, where they sharply discount things that are about to go bad. They're getting close to their expiration date. They've got some overstock someplace. And you can get them very, very cheaply, more cheap than what you would be paying for the brown rice, for example. I go to my local grocery store. They have a great deli counter. They have end cuts, little end pieces, little slices and whatnot from slicing the deli meat and cheese that they sell at ridiculously low prices. If you are on a very small food budget, it makes a lot more sense for you to buy those products than it does for you to buy what's necessarily what you can get on the WIC program. Here's the thing. The Republicans almost immediately withdrew it. This happens all the time. In fact, periodically, this will happen on the national level. People will come in and say, well, we're going to restrict the foods that people can buy with food stamps. Mm-hmm. What happens, people don't realize very quietly, it is the grocery industry that steps in and says, don't do that, because they're making a lot of money from food stamp users. And it stops and everybody gets back to normal. But it does allow people who want to punch down, who want to hate on the poor, it gives them a chance to have some bread and circuses. They get their bloodlust in. They can complain about those horrible people who are on food stamps. They can run their mouths online and offline, feel justified, and they come right back. And again, the poor, the most vulnerable people among us, are used as props in political football.
That's a good
That's what
note.
happened here. The people in Iowa, they knew this was going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
but it got all over Twitter. It got people outraged, frothing at the mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And so they did their jobs as politicians because they are vultures and
Yeah.
assholes.
Yes, exactly. So, hey, since this is the last of it, I will make a shot to that. Folks, it's only going to get worse. And remember,
They don't care about you. Like you keep saying this,
no,
Kit.
no,
and
they don't
they
like
don't
you.
care. They
They
don't
don't
like
think
you.
about they don't like you. They don't think about you. And this is the one that should tick all of you off. They don't respect you. And because they don't respect you, you shouldn't respect them. So smoke them if you got them. And if you don't got them, I have to defer you to the White House counselor.